This is the story we use to remind ourselves that justice can prevail, even in the most unexpected moments. Hello, I'm Sarah, and I'm on a mission to uncover the hidden stories of triumph that often go untold. And one of those stories pertains to a courtroom drama that took an extraordinary turn, or as I like to call it, the day justice picked up the phone. Now, as someone who's spent more hours than I'd care to admit poring over legal cases and social justice issues, I think I'm qualified to talk about this. So buckle up and join me as we dive into a tale that proves sometimes the most powerful statements aren't made with a gavel, but with a simple phone call. You know, when I first heard about this incident, I couldn't believe it. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you felt completely powerless only to have the tables turn in the blink of an eye? Well, that's exactly what happened in this courtroom, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. Picture this. A tense courtroom, the air thick with anticipation and unspoken prejudice. At the center of it all, a black woman, dignified and composed, despite the storm brewing around her. Now, I've seen my fair share of courtroom dramas, both in real life and on TV, but this was something else entirely. Our protagonist, let's call her Angela, found herself in the crosshairs of a police officer who seemed determined to remove her from the courtroom. Why? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? From what I gathered, it wasn't about what Angela had done, but rather about who she was. Or more accurately, who the officer thought she was. You see, in that moment, Angela represented something that made some people uncomfortable. She was a black woman in a space where, historically, people who looked like her weren't always welcome. It's like when I tried to join the boys' club at school. They didn't say I couldn't join because I was a girl, but the looks on their faces said it all. Angela was facing that same silent prejudice, but magnified 100-fold. The officer approached Angela, his stance rigid, his face a mask of authority. I can only imagine what was going through Angela's mind at that moment. Fear, anger, resignation. Whatever it was, she held her ground. And that's when things took a turn that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. Just as the tension in the room reached its peak, just as it seemed that another injustice was about to be silently perpetrated, the universe decided to throw a curveball. The court phone rang. Now, normally, a ringing phone in a courtroom would be an annoyance, a disruption to the proceedings. But in this case, it was nothing short of a lifeline. The clerk answered the phone, and suddenly the atmosphere in the room shifted. You could almost feel the change in the air, like when the wind suddenly changes direction before a storm. The clerk's eyes widened, their posture straightened, and they uttered words that would change everything. It's the White House. Now, I don't know about you, but in my experience, when the White House calls, people tend to sit up and take notice. It's like when your parents used your full name, you knew things were serious. And boy, were things about to get serious in that courtroom. The phone was passed to the judge, and as they listened, you could see the realization dawning on their face. This wasn't just any call. This was a call about Angela. A call that made it clear that she wasn't just some random person who could be dismissed or removed on a whim. She was someone important, someone with connections in the highest echelons of power. In that moment, masks fell. The officer who had been so eager to remove Angela suddenly looked unsure, almost sheepish. The judge's demeanor changed from one of indifference to one of keen interest. And Angela, well, Angela stood there, her dignity intact, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. You see, what nobody in that courtroom knew, except Angela, of course, was that she wasn't just any ordinary citizen. She was a high-ranking government official, someone with direct ties to the White House. The call was a reminder of that fact, a not-so-subtle nudge to treat her with the respect she deserved. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sarah, isn't it sad that it took a call from the White House for Angela to be treated fairly? And you're right, it is sad. It's a stark reminder of the prejudices that still exist in our society, the assumptions we make based on someone's appearance. But it's also a powerful lesson in not judging a book by its cover. This incident speaks volumes about the power dynamics at play in our society. It shows how quickly perceptions can change when someone's true status is revealed. It's like when I was backpacking through Europe and got treated like royalty at a hostel because they thought I was a famous blogger. Suddenly, everyone wanted to be my friend. The same thing happened here, but with much higher stakes. But let's not lose sight of the real hero of this story, Angela. Can you imagine the strength it took to stand there, facing discrimination, knowing you had the power to shut it down at any moment, but choosing to let things play out? That's the kind of quiet strength that moves mountains. Angela's story is a masterclass in resilience and dignity. She didn't shout or make a scene. She didn't immediately pull rank. She stood her ground, secure in the knowledge of who she was and what she represented. And when the moment came, when that phone call changed everything, she didn't gloat or seek revenge. She simply accepted the apologies and moved on with her day. This incident serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of challenging our assumptions and treating everyone with respect, regardless of their appearance or perceived status. It's a lesson that, unfortunately, many still need to learn. But it's not just about the lesson, it's about the hope this story brings. Hope that justice can prevail, even in the most unexpected ways. Hope that there are people in positions of power who are willing to step in and right wrongs. Hope that one day we won't need a phone call from the White House to ensure fair treatment for everyone. You know, stories like Angela's are why I do what I do. They remind us that behind every face is a story. Behind every person is a life full of experiences and connections we can't begin to imagine. They teach us to be kind, to be fair, and to always keep an open mind. So what can we take away from this courtroom drama turned teachable moment? Well, for starters, never underestimate anyone. The person you're dismissing today could be the one you're answering to tomorrow. Treat everyone with respect, not because they might be important, but because it's the right thing to do. Secondly, stand your ground. Angela didn't cave under pressure. She knew who she was and what she deserved, and she stood firm in that knowledge. That's a powerful lesson for all of us. And finally, remember that change can come from unexpected places. Sometimes it's not the loud protests or the grand gestures that make the biggest impact. Sometimes it's a quiet phone call at just the right moment that can turn the tide. As we wrap up this incredible story, I can't help but wonder, how many other Angelas are out there facing discrimination and injustice every day? How many of them don't have the White House on speed dial? It's up to us, each and every one of us, to be the change we want to see, to stand up for what's right, to challenge our own biases, and to treat everyone with the dignity and respect they deserve. That's it for this story. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever witnessed or experienced a moment where assumptions were shattered and perceptions changed in an instant. Have you ever been underestimated only to prove everyone wrong? Or maybe you've been on the other side, learning a valuable lesson about not judging others too quickly. If you enjoyed this tale of unexpected justice, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on more inspiring stories of triumph against the odds. A huge thank you to my supporters for making these stories possible. If you'd like to help keep these tales of resilience and hope coming, you can support the channel today. Until next time, remember, you never know who might be on the other end of that phone call. Goodbye, and keep believing in the power of justice and human dignity.